face the crosswords as they approach or turn 60. They can choose to remain professionally active or withdraw from the workplace, or they can choose to give back through community involvement, advocacy, or they can choose a nice mix of leisure and recreation sprinkled in. There are so many choices for us these days. An important element to consider is a mix of healthy activities to keep us engaged and fulfilled. Are you wondering how to choose activities that are aligned with your sources of satisfaction and to contribute to your overall well-being? Women entrepreneurs and executives, it's important to identify those activities that contribute to your physical, mental, and emotional needs that contribute and also contribute to your social life. So today I have my brother James on camera, and with his sidekick Molly. She's just looking at the camera now. We don't know what she's going to do. She might decide to get a bone or something and make a little noise, but we're going to work through that. So James is a head teaching professional at Cobble Beach up in Owen Sound, Ontario, and he's one of the top golf instructors in Canada. He has a long career in teaching golf, which he will share with you. James coaches all year round to ensure that his clients enjoy their game of golf at any age. I'm very happy to have him join me today to share his insights on the many benefits of learning and playing golf at any age. James and I will also sprinkle in a few bits of wisdom that we both learned from our dad and his experiences as he stayed engaged in finding fulfillment after 60. Welcome, James. How are you doing today?
Great. Thank you, Patricia. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're up in your nice warm home way up north in the Owen Sound area, right? With the fireplace on. So
yes, I am. It's nice and cozy in here. And
a little different from the warm days on the golf course, right?
yes, it is. It's a lot different.
Yeah.
It's so busy in the season, then it comes to a crashing halt, and then we go through the transition through the fall, and it's winter now.
So. Well, I think you're going to share some insight on how people can stay tuned or ready to golf in the spring, because golf can be an all-round game now, like of exercise, not just in the summer months. So we'll touch on that in a few minutes. But tell me a little bit, or share with us what you mean by being a lifelong teacher and learner.
Well, I've been teaching golf for a long time, and so I'm constantly, conveying information to my students about the game of golf and about their golf swing. And at the same time, I'm constantly learning new teaching methods or techniques in the game of golf. And in recent years, a lot of that has to do with technology, using video and motion measurement devices and things. So I'm always learning that way, but I'm also always learning from my students as well. So it's a two-way street. They learn from me and I learn from them. So it's good.
And we'll probably talk about a few of those moments as we go through our interview today. But I want to ask you specifically about the top benefits of golf as we age, because there are lots of benefits that some people might not realize that are really important after the age of 60. Let's talk about the physical part of golf. Tell me a little more about the physical benefits of golf.
Well, the physical benefits of golf include being outdoors in the fresh air, and you can choose to ride in a cart or to walk the golf course. Obviously, walking's more physical. You can walk about 5 kilometers on average during a round of golf, uphill and downhill as well. And then there's the motion of swinging the golf club as well. So it gets you're out and about, and you're spending 4 to 5 hours outside. So that in itself is it's plenty of physical activity for sure. Keep you moving.
Yeah. And what about the part of nature, like being outside? What do you think the benefits are of that time outside, as far as clearing?
Well, it's relaxing. It's meditative. gets you in touch with nature and wildlife and the views of the golf course. And we're fortunate at Cobble Beach to have a view of the water from every part of the golf course. So that's an added bonus as well. So yeah.
So it's also good to take a camera with you, right? I remember looking at many of Dad's photographs from being on the course, and lots of pictures of geese and ducks and other fox and other kind of wildlife, right? So puts you in tune with nature, which is
Absolutely.
good.
Yeah,
Meditative,
it's great.
yeah. So when we talk about meditative as well, there's a very strong benefit around the mental side of the golf game. Tell us a little bit about the mental benefits.
Well, I think if you approach it correctly, it's a nice balance between applying yourself mentally. I mean, golf's it's a challenge at the best of times, so you have to have your wits about you and think your way around the golf course. But there's also plenty of opportunity. While it's not your shot, you usually have two or three playing partners that while they're taking their shots, there's plenty of time for you to sit back or stand back and relax and enjoy the view or contemplate your next shot or what have you. So it's a nice balance of being on when it's your shot and then relaxing when it's not, and in between holes too.
I would imagine it's also very good for building your emotional health, as far as like not all things go well on a golf course. And so you're going to have those challenges where you're going to have to monitor your emotions, correct? Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely, yes. Golf's a lot like life. I mean, there's ups and downs throughout the course of a round of golf, or even in one hole. So, the idea is not to have the highs too high and the lows too low, but there's opportunity to celebrate a good shot, whether it's yours or your playing partner's shot. When you hit a bad shot or things aren't going quite well, you just have to keep it together and stay calm and hit your next shot. So
Yeah, well, you definitely want to stay calm for your next shot, otherwise things can really go downhill, correct?
that's right. That's right.
Okay, you touched on the social side. Tell us how golf is a big benefit for, especially for people who are finding fulfillment after the age of 60. What's the social benefit of golf?
It's a great social benefit in that you're usually playing with one or two or three other people in your group, and it can be men or women, and it's usually around your own age group as well. And there's many events at the club, like there's Ladies' Day and Men's Day, and then there's other club tournaments and things. So all of those and include the social aspect of lunch or dinner after your round of golf, and it's just a nice weekly gathering on a particular day for you and your golfing friends to get together. And again, there's plenty of time to chat out there on the golf course or before your round or after your round. So yeah, it definitely keeps you connected with other people. It's a social game.
And I know many people talk about golf as being very important for them because of that social element, so that they don't become isolated, so that they get a lot of the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the social benefits. One of the things that Dad used to talk to us about is about the civility around the game of golf. I know you've got some great stories of how you actually share your wisdom with younger golfers and other golfers as well. So do you want to share a little bit about how you prepare young golfers when they get into your class?
Sure. Yeah, golf's a great game when it comes to social manners and things, because it's entwined in the game itself right from the very beginning. And for the junior camps that I do, the first day of the week, first thing in the morning, the first thing I talk about with my juniors is etiquette, and it's it's like I explained to them that it's like good manners for golf, and those good manners carry over into everything else that you do away from golf and for the rest of your life as well. So it teaches you to be considerate of others while they're taking their shot, or to to celebrate with your fellow players on their good shots, and or your good shot as well. And there's an element of safety and etiquette as well, so that you know where to stand and where to be, so you're safe when it's someone else's shot, and so on. But not just the juniors that I share the rules and the etiquette of golf with, but anyone that's fairly new to the game, because they want to make sure that they're not doing anything wrong while they're out on the golf course with other players. Yeah, golf's a great game for learning manners and being considerate of others, and yeah, it's great that way.
So building character, as Dad used to say, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the game itself will do that to you, right? Before, with all the plenty of ups and downs that there are, and I mean that's why a lot of business has been done on the golf course over the years, is because golf is a lot like life with its ups and downs. You can surely get to know someone really well in the course of 4 or 5 hours on the golf course.
So why would someone want to start to learn golf now, after 60? What are some of the challenges that we have, especially in the Canadian climate, and why would they want to start to learn now?
Well, to start learning now, as you get into your 60s, it's as we touched on, it's a great social game, so it keeps you connected with other people. It's great physically and mentally. It gets you outdoors and keeps you moving. So it's great exercise, great physically. And as far as the challenges from where we are in Canada, the winters can get pretty long and isolated. So we're fortunate enough now to start to have indoor simulators, and I teach all year round. So when we move into the winter season, a lot of my students are still taking lessons with me throughout the winter indoors, into a golf simulator, and it just it keeps them active mentally and physically, and it just keeps them on their game, so that when the spring comes, they're a step ahead, as if they weren't doing that.
And what are some of the other things that they can do in the winter to stay conditioned, so that they're not disappointed when they get out on the golf course first thing in the spring?
Yoga, definitely. There's specific poses in yoga that help with golf. In fact, I have one of my own that I invented years ago. I remember telling my yoga instructor I've invented a yoga pose, and it's called the Happy Golfer, and it's just the finishing position, or the follow through position of the golf swing, and you just hold it there, and then you stretch it out from there. And I do it myself all winter long, and so that when I start swinging a club and playing golf in the spring, in my follow through of the swing, I'm not pulling any muscles, and I'm nice and stretched out. So that's one thing golfers can do in the winter to stay somewhat physically ready for golf in the spring and summer. Also, just having a golf club handy, that you can grip every day for 5 minutes, just to make sure your grip is correct and proper. It's one of the most important parts of the game. One of the top fundamentals of the game is gripping the golf club properly. And then you may not have a lot of room in your living room to swing a club, but you can also just do slow, short movements of the correct movements in the golf swing, in the lower half of the swing through impact, like from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock. And that's where everything happens anyway. So yeah, there's plenty that you can do just to keep your hands on the golf club throughout the winter.
I'm sure there's a lot to learn from you on the basics, right? The essentials, as you say. A lot of people just get up there and swing to slug the ball out into the fairway, right? But you're able to teach them how to finesse that and control their swing, have a good swing that's consistent. So I would say that that's important for people to be aware of all year round. What about preparing mentally for getting back on the golf course in the spring?
Um, I've done this exercise before where I will just play around the golf in my head and
Oh,
visualize it, like from start to finish. And
mhm.
it's, same as meditation. It's surprising how soon, your mind can drift off into something else. You might not even make it to the first hole, visualizing your game, and you're drifting off onto something else. So that's a good form of meditation. It keeps you thinking about the game. Um, lots of good books to read or online info as well. Uh, an advantage in the winter and in the summer as well, but more so in the winter as far as the video that I use in my lessons. My students get a copy of their lessons by video. So in the winter, you can analyze your swing or view your lessons, and it's like taking your lesson over and over again. So
Mhm,
yeah, you can certainly stay engaged with your game in the
mhm,
winter. You don't necessarily have to play around the golf.
mhm. And what about the expectations for getting back? Even if you do practice and stretch and everything in the winter, what about the mental and emotional part of preparing?
Well, I know for myself, I think that's something that comes with experience in that going through the off season and back into the season enough times to know that you're not going to be even if you do stay engaged and you take lessons. There's nothing like the real thing, so you're not going to be in mid-season form come springtime. So to know that and to not give yourself or put any unrealistic expectations on yourself. For me, I treat my first round of golf of the year as, and I'm a pro, so I have no expectations as far as score or how I'm going to play the game. In fact, I'm just happy to be out there, and I enjoy being outdoors again and moving around and the social aspect of it. And funnily enough, what usually happens because of that is usually play a pretty good round of golf. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
about
yeah.
managing your expectations and being realistic about it. And
So, share with us some moment where you saw someone who you teach, um, how golf really contributed to the fulfillment of their life, like a woman's life, someone that you coach. And let us know how people can reach you.
okay, great. I can think of one student in particular, but this could go for a lot of students of mine over the years. But this one in particular, she was very successful in business, had her own business. She did play golf, but not a lot and not very well. And knowing that she was ready to retire and knowing that she's going to have a lot more time on her hands, she wanted to stay active. And even though she didn't play very well, she just loved the game. So she knew it was going to be a part of her future or part of her life in retirement. Knowing that she was going to have more time, she decided to um, take more lessons with me, and we developed a really good program together to work on her game. And the way I explained it to her was that by mid-season or at the end of the season, you're going to feel comfortable playing golf with anybody. And it just took her first year of retirement to get to that stage. Now has continued to take lessons with me in her retirement, but she can now expand her golf with playing with other people and playing in bigger events at the club instead of her small group of 2 or 3 that that she was comfortable with. She's comfortable playing with anybody now. So it's just it's done wonders for her enjoyment of the game.
Now, share a bit about that. So we'll go back to the social aspect, where you're able to share your successes and your challenges as someone who's playing golf. You've got a story of this year, I believe, with one of your students having a great achievement. Tell us about that.
Yes, absolutely. So I have the privilege of running our ladies' days at our club, and on any particular week, they may have a format where they start off as like a shotgun start, where each group starts off on a different hole, and it's so that they can start and finish at the same time and come in for lunch afterwards. And on this one particular day, it was a beautiful day as usual, and this lady had a hole-in-one on her first shot of the day, because she started on a par 3 on the 8th hole. And once I get them started out on the golf course, I usually make my rounds and visit each group on the golf course as they're playing. And so where the 8th hole is situated, and the way I start, I go out the 9th hole and work my way backwards. And so they were actually the first group that I met, and they're all excited, and they tell me the news that she had a hole-in-one, and it was the first one of her life and first shot of the day. And so I had the privilege of spreading the news to every other golfer in the ladies groups as I traveled from hole to hole. And it was great to see each group happy and excited for her, and knowing that when they're finished their round of golf, they're going to be able to go in for lunch and celebrate her hole-in-one with her at lunch. So yeah, it's great.
What a great way to sort of build relationships, but actually have strong bonds when they're in a group like that, and they're able to cheer on and celebrate someone else's success, especially a hole-in-one. I would imagine as you went around the course that day, you had a great view of the Sound. Tell us about Diamonds on the Water.
Well, depending on the time of day, it can start just shortly after sunrise and last until around noon. If there's a bit of a chop on the water, the sun glistens off of the water, and it shimmers, and it looks just like diamonds. And on days where most days I come into work and it's before sunrise, but there's days where I come in a little bit later, and as I turn into the golf community, it's the first thing I see is the diamonds shimmering off the water, and it's a great way to it like welcomes me to my job.
Yeah, what a great way to be encouraged to go to work. Like, what a great workplace you have, right?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
fortunate. It is very good, and it's for the teaching deck that I teach from. I'm also fortunate that it's high up and it's facing the water as well. So yeah, I'm fortunate.
That must be very inspiring for people who you teach as well, right? Like those moments where they can pause and sort of take in what you're teaching them. They still have that beautiful view where if things don't go that well that day, at least they had a wonderful view, right? And a wonderful experience with you. So I don't want to skip by this. How can people get a hold of you?
Well, they can probably the best way to get a hold of me is by email, and that's simply that it's jameswickets@cobblebeach.com.
Mm-hmm. And for those who are watching, you can see how James Wickets, don't forget the S on Wicket, okay, Wickets at cobblebeach.com. That's right, James, that's where it is. Yeah. And actually, I would encourage people to go on cobblebeach.com, their website. You can see James' bio as the head teaching professional in the Golf Academy on that particular page, and look up more about indoor golf, because this simulator that is now available allows lessons all year round, so that if off season you still want to get out there and do some really good swings and have some instruction from James, you can do that. Now, James was explaining to me, it's not like being outdoors and doing it, but it is one way for you to keep inspired, so that you do start the new season with some things that you can put into place that you've learned through the winter. So thank you, James. I would like to thank my audience as well. Join me each week as I interview women over the age of 60 or from 45 and up, and other thought leaders like James about finding fulfillment and joy after 60. If you're interested in being a guest, you can take a look at my name down there. Its website is patriciamuir.com. And when you go onto my website, please sign up for my newsletter, which comes out every Sunday, and look at the blog post. This Sunday, James will be featured in the newsletter. This video will be posted in the newsletter. And Sunday mornings are for self-care. And hundreds of women sit with their favorite beverage to read my latest insights and on fulfillment in life and at work. Thank you, and have a great week.
Thank you.